Warning, this game contains content that might not be suitable for most audiences. Viewers' discretion is advised. Hello everyone and welcome back to 14 Days Review. Now we are here with day 2 of this. I know y'all have been excited about this. I know you guys have been starting a counter for how many days you've been asking me for this update. But anyway, the sounds of birds chirping outside pulled me away from my slumber as streaks of sunlight peeked through the blinds of my window and cast a warm glow across my skin. I wanted nothing more than to reach out and close the blinds, but something, or rather, someone seemed to be stopping me. A familiar pair of white sleeves are wrapped securely around my waist, so I turn around only to find Ren staring intently at me from his side of the bed. Oh right, I forgot that Heat rises to my cheeks as the memories from last night come rushing back, and I sheepishly try to hide my reddening face in the pillows. But Ren only seems to find amusement in my state of embarrassment, with how his eyes crinkle while he lightly chuckles underneath the morning light. He looked far too pretty in the sunlight for a man who'd surely woken up no more than 5 minutes ago, and I had to fight the urge to take a picture of him to commit the scene to memory. On second thoughts, that would have been far too creepy. But I couldn't help myself from stealing one more peek at his soft demeanor before covering my face again. And without warning, Ren pulls me closer before he nuzzles his head into the crook of my neck and inhales deeply. His sudden act of affection startled me, to say the least, and despite the events that unfolded last night, he seemed far too comfortable to be acting this familiar and cuddly with me. How was he acting so carefree after what we had done? It was like he thought that waking up next to each other like this was completely normal to him. Morn. Admittedly, his sleepy voice sounded rather pleasant when he spoke it so close to my ear. I had other, more pressing issues to concern myself over. I just didn't know how to casually broach the topic with him yet. Ren, however, didn't seem to want to acknowledge the heavy air between us, and instead felt content with snuggling up to me and tickling my neck with his breath. So, to try to put some distance between us, I push against his chest and attempt to strike up a conversation. Good morning, sleepyhead. How long have you been awake? Long enough to find out that you drool in your sleep. Hey! Wait! We will not talk about this, okay? I know that I snore and that it gets messy when I sleep, but you do not need to tell people about this. God damn it, Ren. I do? Nah, I'm just kidding. He's not kidding. He is not kidding. His laughter goes across my cheeks as he nuzzles his face into my neck once more, and his hands glide down across my back to draw me impossibly close to his body. Close enough until both of our bodies are pressed against each other, and I could feel the all too familiar warmth radiating from his skin. The sensation sends a shiver up my spine, and I only hope Ren didn't notice it. You hungry? I can make his breakfast if you want. Can't we stay here instead? As much as I'd love to sleep in, I don't want to waste the day. But I do, and you're very warm. And you're getting a bit too clingy. Well, I meant it lightheartedly. I don't think Ren took it the same way, judging from the low whine that emits from the back of his throat and the deep sigh he releases into my skin. It takes him a moment before he finally detaches himself from me, and even from my spot on the bed, I could see the soft pout he was sporting. Without care in the world... Gosh darn it! And without a care in the world, Ren sits up on the inside of the bed and lets out a lengthy, drawn-out yawn, not acknowledging the blanket falling from his body and exposing his lower half to meet my eyes. Almost sheepishly, I avert my gaze and wait until he was done. You know, we could go to that cafe near the pier for breakfast, the one that recently opened up. You mean the Driftwood Cafe? I didn't know it was open to the public yet. If you want, we could go have a look. Besides, you said yourself that you didn't want to waste the day. What better way to start it than by going on a nice, sunny morning walk? He sends me a cheeky smile, but I can tell by his sarcastic tone that the last thing he wants to do is get out of my bed. But seeing him act so casual and lively makes me wonder what had happened to his shy persona from yesterday. Was he more comfortable around me now? I certainly would assume so after how intimate we got last night. Of course, I still need to talk to him about that, but Ren seems almost adamant about avoiding the topic altogether. Well, I suppose we'll cross that bridge when we get there. The thought of good food was much more tempting. Wait, where did I... Glancing over Ren once more, I notice how he almost seems flustered as he looks around the room before lifting up the sheets and the pillows around him. He sends me a sheepish smile when our eyes briefly meet, before he goes back to searching for whatever it was he was looking for on the floor. And I almost get rolled over when he tries to hoist the blanket around his waist and rise from the bed. I don't suppose... Do you know where my pants are? Rolling my eyes, I toss him a pillow to cover up before groaning into my arms. In the end, Ren and I decide to walk to the cafe together, considering how the weather was perfect and it wasn't that far from my apartment. Turning to my side, I notice how the pink-haired man tries to not so subtly sneak side glances towards me. The arm at his side practically itches to reach out, and if I knew any better, I would have assumed he wanted to hold my hand. But instead, he simply tucks his hands into his pockets and shoots me yet another soft smile. The weather's really nice today, huh? Back to small talk, it seems. Sure is. If I'd known it'd be this nice and sunny, would have suggested spending the day at the beach instead. Yeah? Yeah, we could go for a swim, maybe check out the rock pools. It's been a while since I've been there. Oh, that does sound fun. Lion! At the sound of my name being called, I turn to my heels, only to find Leon running up to me with a sports bag full of what I assume to be his volleyball gear. Hey yo, Sunfish. It's good to see you out and about this early. I was just on my way to the beach to meet up with Jaehyun and Tio. Wanna come along? And hey, it's Ron, right? It's Ren! What is wrong? His name is Ren! I know I only introduced you guys yesterday, but come on, fam. Come on. Nice to see you again, buddy. It's Ren actually, exactly. Oh god, I'm so glad that I am the one who chose to actually tell him his real name. Sunfish. Huh? Oh yeah. Sunfish is the cheeky nickname Leon gave me when we were kids. I don't really get it either, to be honest. So, Sunfish and Ren, was it? Sorry about that, bud. Not too good with names. Faces too, sometimes. To be fair, that is... Well, that's me. That is straight up me. But hey, it's good to see you both again. Do anything exciting today. If not, you can tag along with me and... Angelfish and I were about to go... He's calling me Angelfish! Why? Angelfish? A date? I don't miss the way Ren suddenly pulls my arm closer to his side, or the way he clings onto me as though I'd suddenly disappear. You're going on dates again, Darl. Good for you. I'm glad to see you're coming out of your shell again. Take good care of him for me, won't you, bud? What do you think I've been doing ever since you moved away? Like me, Leon barely seems to notice Ren's mumbling as he rests an arm over my shoulders and starts tugging me in the direction of the beach. Ren, on the other hand, still latches onto my arms but doesn't seem to move. I can't believe my little Sunfish is out there on the dating scene again. Feel like a proud father. Oh, please, we're basically the same age, and I am not calling you daddy! So maybe... Yeah, whatever. I feel like a proud adoptive father. That doesn't make it any weirder. It doesn't make it any less weird. Leon pretends to wipe a tear away from his eyes as he leans further into my shoulder, and was only then that I noticed Ren wasn't following us. Turning around, I reach out to grab his hand instead to tug him along. Immediately, he seems to perk up at the action and entwines his fingers with mine before falling into step. Alright, as fun as it is to catch up my proud adoptive father, who's the same age as me, which kind of makes things weird, Ren and I do need to get going. Oh, yeah, of course. Didn't mean to take up much of your time. He unhooks his arm from around my shoulder and inclines his head towards the beach one more time. My offer still stands. If you want to catch up some more, I'll be down the beach with... Hot, yes, please, yes! Speak of the devil. Much like Jay, Theodore was another friend I made in university. But if I was being honest here, I don't think he was actually enrolled in anything. He just showed up every so often to keep his attendance rate up and to antagonize some of the students and staff. As if reading my mind, Tio practically runs into Ren with the sole purpose of sending him tumbling into the metal railing behind him. But luckily, Ren manages to catch his footing at the last second, sending Tio an annoyed scowl of his own. Honestly, I wouldn't blame Ren like, for doing whatever he wants to do with Tio, that was unnecessarily cruel. Oh, shit. Sorry about that. Not sure how much such a brightly colored children's mask. Okay, you're hot, but what is wrong with you? Alright, there's no need for that here. Despite Leon's tone, Tio barely pays the shorter male any mind, seemingly far more interested in Ren instead. Let me guess, you're dressed up as Betty the Buttercup. My 4-year-old cousin would love you. Oi, knock it off, mate. What's your problem? Dunno, what's yours? No, what is your problem, Tio? I could practically feel the tension between the two girls, so I decided to step in. Maybe you should introduce each other first before you try glaring each other to death. I am Antonio Banderas. You have killed my father. Prepare to die. Well, I forgot what's the guy's name. I need to like check out that meme again. And yes, I will be bringing back that joke someday. I don't know when. You'll just have to see when it happens. But anyway, I'm their boyfriend. Well, that was certainly one way to put it, especially without discussing it with me beforehand and asking for my input. Then again, we did sleep together last night, and I still haven't been able to broach the subject with him again. At his words, I shoot Ren a confused glance, but the determined look on his face had me biting back my words. Okay then. Anyway, this is Tio. He's a total pain in my ass. How will you respond? He's a friend from university. He's my ex-boyfriend. He's just a fling. I'm a serious man. Oh god. He's a friend from university, and I hate him. Aw, you consider us friends? That's real cute, doll. Are we not friends? You always used to show up to some of my classes at university. Which was weird because I'm pretty sure we started different things. Also, good on me for dumping this guy's butt. Or did I get dumped? Was I in a terribly abusive relationship? I have no idea. Like, Tio really seems like the kind of guy you do not want to mess around with. Maybe I just wanted to see you. Oh, screw off. How uncharacteristically thoughtful of him. Or see what you were wearing under... Screw off, Tio! Never mind. Okay, enough. Look, why don't we just drop the issue? You really need to stop picking fights with everyone, mate. Don't get your panties in a twist. I seriously doubt Buttercup's capable of harming a fly, let alone able to throw a decent punch. Really, me and these little boys, girls, what do you call your fists? So, like, tell me in the comments below, what do you call your fists? These little love muffins. These little love muffins are able to give you more than you bargained for, Tio. You can drop the nickname. Nah, but I think Dollface over here should drop you. It's screw off, Tio. Like, just for this, I am just gonna like romance the absolute heck out of Ren and cause your downfall just to spite you. Besides, the nickname is kinda cute. Matches his style pretty well. Don't you think, Buttercup? I could see Ren's hand clenched to a fist as he advances towards Tio, but thankfully, Leon steps in once more. Seriously, why don't we all cool off, yeah? I think we're getting a bit too heated. Look, we're gonna head down to the beach. I don't miss the way Leon sends Tio a sharp glare. Be sure to enjoy this, Lion. I promise to make sure that Tio stays on his best behavior. Sorry, Leo, but already made plans with Red, and I seriously doubt they'll be able to get along. You know how Tio can get. Yeah, you got a point there. Well, alright then. He leans closer to me, almost as if he didn't want the other two eavesdropping. If anything happens, I'll be in the area. Just come find me, okay? I will. Thanks, Leon. I give his arm a soft squeeze and turn my attention back to Ren. But by the way he looks at us, I can only assume that he didn't like how close I was standing to my childhood friend. So that could have also been because Tio was still around, and honestly, couldn't blame him. Really can't. Regardless, I reached for his hand once more and tugged him along the cafe, making a point of ignoring Tio's crass words as we went along. I barely noticed how Ren's mood immediately changes when my attention is back on him, and he follows along like a lost puppy. We eventually arrive at the Driftwood Cafe, and the smell of fresh pastries and brewed coffee floods my senses as it wafts through the open windows. And just as I thought, the cafe looked as though it had only recently opened. though it didn't seem as busy or crowded as I anticipated. Pulling me from my thoughts, Ren ushers me into one of the empty tables before he goes off to make an order with a pleased look on his face. It was a bit strange how he didn't want to look at the menu first, but I chalked it up to him wanting to surprise me. He's barely gone for 5 minutes before he returns once more, taking a seat in front of me with a huff. A comfortable silence washes over us, and I watch as he absentmindedly fiddles with the ends of his hair. Was he still concerned about what Tio said about his appearance earlier? Maybe it'd be a good idea to take his mind off of it. Hey, Ren? Almost immediately, he perks up with wide eyes. How do you manage to keep your hair so fluffy? It always looks so good. Ren seems to flush instantly at my words, as he sheepishly ducks his head lower to hide his reddening cheeks. You like it? I usually just angle a blow dryer down my chin and blast the heat, and it just stays like that afterwards. Oh, so you don't use any products or anything? Not really. Just when I thought he got over his timid personality, slowly came crawling back. Was this who he really was? Ren must have taken my silence as a lack of response, seeing as he tries to strike up another conversation. So, work's going good for you, huh? Finally got that promotion? Yeah, I did. I was honestly surprised when I got my promotion, considering how I've only moved back here recently. But Eleanor's been really helpful by showing me the ropes and... Wait, how'd you know I got promoted? Pretty sure I would have told him about it yesterday. Oh, your coworker told me all about it yesterday after you left. Eleanor, right? She seemed really proud of you. Anyways, what were you saying about her showing you the ropes? I barely noticed how he managed to change the conversation back to me, as I recounted all the times Eleanor helped me through my first week of working at the library. It eventually reached a point where it felt like I had been talking for hours, and it wasn't until something caught my eye did I finally stop. How will you respond? Look at the cute puppy. That golf style is really cool. Got something in your hair. Sorry, what were you saying? That's a really cute puppy! Huh? Ren glances out the windows and follows my line of sight, where a small Pomeranian sat idling, chewing the laces of its owner's shoes. Ha! Yeah, that's a pretty dog, but I think you're cuter. Nothing could compare to you. Order 25! Oh, that's this. Wait right here. I'll be right back. Before I could get a word in, Ren was jumping off his seat and meandering his way towards the kiosk. It was really a sight to behold, seeing Ren tower over most of the other customers who were waiting in line. Even the cashier herself, who seemed to be at least 6 feet tall, oh my gosh, she's tall, had to crane her neck upwards just to look at him. But before I could blink twice, Ren was already on his way back with a large tray full of delicious food. He seats himself back in his original spot with a pleased smile and begins to lay out the dishes in front of me. Oh, this is... How will you respond? A delicious looking scone, a chocolate croissant, a big slice of cake, a sugary cookie. I would like a croissant. Can I have a croissant? A croissant with chocolate filling sits next to my beverage, and I almost heard my stomach rumble at the sight. How did Ren know this was my favorite thing to order? Granted, it wasn't like I've been to Driftwood Cafe before, but this was usually what I order at any other cafe. It was honestly like he could read my mind, or like he just knows me really well. I'm starting to suspect that he's my friend online, probably. And what was even more mind-boggling was that he didn't even need to look at the menu beforehand. It was like he just knew. Don't forget your drink. Ren shoots me another gentle smile of his before placing my drink before me. No way. The drink he placed in front of me, it was, how will you respond? Okay, I get it. Okay, a cup of coffee, steaming latte, a can of soda, a fruity... I want a smoothie. I would love to have a fruity smoothie. The inviting aroma of fruit floods my senses, and that alone was what assured me that Ren ordered my favorite smoothie. Just like the ones I usually bring on my way back to work sometimes. I hope this is okay. Unfortunately, this cafe doesn't really have much to offer, judging from the menu I saw online. Ah, so that's how he knew what to order. I even tried asking for napkins earlier, but I don't think they heard me. Maybe I should try again. I almost felt bad for him, but I also felt grateful for ordering me something that I normally eat at a cafe. Ren makes sure that everything is on the table before putting the tray aside. It was then when I noticed what he'd ordered for himself. On his plate sat a strawberry sweet roll, alongside a cup of coffee that was an alarming shade of black. Ooh, my favorite. He seems to pick up on my inquisitive stare, if the innocent tilt of his head was anything to go by. Do you want my meal instead? We could swap if you want. I don't mind. This was supposed to be a date, right? Deciding to tease him a little, I shoot Ren a sly grin. That's okay, but you could offer me a bite instead? A little bite of you, maybe? Ren almost seems to combust on the spot as his cheeks turn red and he almost chokes on his own spit. He looks down at his food before glancing back at me, only to look down once more to scoop up a bite-sized piece of his food. I watch as Ren's cheek turn a deep shade of red while he brings his fork closer to me, and not wanting to be seen as a coward, I lean in to take a bite. His eyes widen almost immediately, and he seems hyper-focused on the way my mouth wraps around the fork before I lick my lips and let out a pleased hum. Oh, it's yummy. Here, try some. The pink-haired man seems to have an awkwardly long staring contest with his own fork before scooping up yet another small piece and taking a bite. Ren's cheeks are still scarlet red, and he seems almost fidgety with how his legs keep bouncing under the table, so I decide to take pity on him and not tease him for it. With a knowing smile, I start digging into my own meal with a pleased hum. Oh? Eventually, we ended up finishing our meals and decided to do a bit of window shopping to pass the time. I had nothing else to do today, and Ren seemed insistent on spending the rest of his time with me, so I agreed. We passed by a few clothing stores, ice cream stands, surfboard rentals, and many other interesting buildings, though nothing really caught my eye. Just as I thought I lost all hope, one store in particular catches my eye. In one display windows, I spotted this cute little rabbit plushie in the style of Haruko's likeness. I mean, even came with his limited edition sorcerer outfit and everything. I could believe they were selling these things here of all places, and at such a cheap price too. Ren seems to notice that I was not so subtly gawky at it, but before we could enter the store, the cashier walks in front of the display stand and blocks our view. She drops a box of miscellaneous items at her feet and begins stocking the shelf next to the plushies, before she finally notices us standing by the window. I don't miss the way her eyes widen at Ren, obviously taking an immediate liking to him, and almost shamelessly pushes a strand of hair behind her ear before giving him a small wave. Sneaking a glance at the taller man beside her, I noticed how Ren wasn't even paying any attention to her, instead keeping himself busy by scratching at his jaw and kicking at the stray cobblestone rocks by his feet. But the cashier seemed adamant about getting Ren's attention, considering how she felt the need to abandon her spot by the shelves and make her way towards us. Hi there! Welcome to Seaside Trinkets. My name is Olivia. Can I help you with anything? Oh no, we're just looking around, but thanks for... We recently got some new beachwear merch if you're interested in checking them out. She's seriously ignoring me. Oh, you kind of look like someone I know. Have we met before? Maybe we went to the same school. Me? I don't think so. Really? I definitely would have remembered a face like yours. Actually, now that I've got a good look at you, I watch as she shamelessly takes in Ren's appearance before crossing her arms over her chest and leaning back. You also remind me of one of those characters from a cartoon that's been gaining a lot of traction here. Apparently, one of the locations from that show is based on Carlin Bay's main beach. Are you talking about Attack on Giant? Is that the name of it? Then yeah! I don't really know much about cartoons, but our company recently started selling some stuff for it to entice the tourists. You want to come inside and take a look? Ren doesn't seem to answer a question and instead casts an inquisitive glance in my direction. It was like he was asking me for my opinion, and I could only assume it was because he knew about my interest in anime. It was thoughtful of him to do that, but I kind of wanted him to tell the rude worker off instead. Wait, did I really want him to do that? What's wrong with me? I'm sure that the cashier just took an interest in him. There was nothing wrong with that. I'm getting jealous? Fascinating. It's not like we were a couple anyway, but we were supposed to be on a date right now, and Ren did declare himself as my boyfriend earlier. But I just assumed he said that in order to get Tio off my back. What does that mean? Was he feeling the same way as me? Was jealousy on his mind when we talked with Leon and Tio earlier? I wasn't sure how I felt about this new discovery. Lion? Huh? Do you want to go look at the new items? We've still got a bit of time to kill. Here, why don't I show you the most recent stock? We haven't shown this to the general public yet. I'm sure you'll love it. Without warning, Olivia, was that her name? Reaches out for Ren's arm and practically drags him inside the store. No, my Ren! Mine! He lets out a surprised sound before leaning back and trying to grab hold of his own arm as well. I was just out of his reach. There was nothing else I could do but watch as Ren helplessly gets pulled into the store. Oh, it's back here in the storerooms. Usually we don't allow customers downstairs, but you're a real hottie, so I'll let you take a sneak peek. I don't like how close she's getting with Ren. I really don't like it. Will I have to do something about this? No, actually, I'm good. Thank you, Ren. Don't worry, we won't get caught. I'm sure your partner won't mind if I borrow you for a bit. The wink she sends him would have made anyone feel uncomfortable, and had Ren turned around, I would have seen the pissed off look on his face. Instead, he leans in close to her face and whispers in a hushed tone that I could barely hear from my spot outside the store. If they weren't standing there right now, I would have shoved your desperate butt down the staircase without a second thought. And right now, it's really tempting. What? From the guard position, it looked as though they were having a really intimate conversation, and I felt the sudden urge to look away. Why was I getting so bothered about this? I know we weren't exactly together, but Ren shouldn't be off flirting with other people while on a date with someone else. I would never want to be in a relationship with someone who wasn't considerate of my feelings, and up until now, I honestly thought Ren would have had a chance. Yes, I was wrong. But still, there was this nagging feeling at the back of my head that kept telling me not to give up on him so easily. Ren was the one who confidently stood his ground when Tio got a bit suggestive, so maybe I should do the same? Would he even mind? Before I can stop myself, my feet start to move on autopilot as I march towards the two of them and reach for Ren's sleeve. I give it a hesitant tug, and I swear I could almost feel the relief wash over his body because of it. Ren's entire demeanor seems to change in that moment, and he turns to me with a relieved smile on his soft features. I don't really have any interest in this store. Can we go somewhere else? Yeah, of course. Wait, hold on! Ren carelessly shoves Olivia's outstretched hand aside and gently places an arm over my shoulder instead. Just like that, he's already guiding me out of the store and back onto the busy street. Ta! Take that, Olivia! He's my Ren. I can hear Olivia sputter out confused sounds as she watches the two of us leave, and I suddenly felt guilty for causing a rift between them. Well, no matter how many times I tried to brush it aside, I still couldn't get my mind off of what had occurred earlier. What if Ren was interested in her? Granted, he probably should have blatantly flirted with her while on a date with me, but he wasn't exactly the most confident guy. Would he still be able to talk to her again if things didn't work out between us? Shouldn't be thinking like that. Hurrying up to gauge his expression, I noticed how he didn't really look all that upset about leaving her. If anything, he seemed rather content to be walking down the street with his fingers entwined with mine once more. I can feel him give my hand a protective squeeze as he looks down at me with his soft blue eyes, and all my worries somehow melt away. Maybe I did make the right choice after all. Might have been selfish, but it was worth having Ren look at me with such gentle expression. Eventually, the sun starts to set behind the ocean as Ren and I continue to walk along the beach walk. Most of the conversation was geared towards me and my interests again, but every time I tried to learn more about Ren, he only seemed to divert the conversation back to me once more. But the more I focused on his odd behavior, the more I began to pick up on his social habits as well. I learned that Ren would suddenly pick at the sleeves of his cardigan whenever he got nervous, or how he'd scratch at his jaw whenever the conversation strayed down a path he didn't feel comfortable with. His little quirks told me more about himself than the dead-end conversations that only led back to me. I was content with knowing more about him than I did yesterday. Ren no longer felt like a stranger I met at a library, but rather someone I could consider a friend. Except friends don't spend the night together and get jealous whenever they flirt with someone else. Jeez, what was wrong with me? It had barely been 2 days and I was already contemplating whether or not I truly saw Ren in a romantic light. Was I going too fast? All these thoughts were starting to get a bit overwhelming and... Angel? Hello? Huh? You're spacing out on me again. There's that look again. He keeps peering down at me with so much adoration in his eyes, and if I didn't know any better, I would think he was already halfway in love with me. That was very conceited, and probably wasn't even true. Sorry, I was just thinking about things. Are you going to share those things to the rest of the class. Well, no, like, Ren is mine and I'm not gonna share. He sends me a playful smile and a gentle nudge into my side. I couldn't help but laugh. When did we become so comfortable with each other? And when did he lose his stutter? It's nothing. Maybe a bit embarrassing, but well, I was wondering. How do you feel about... My sentence gets cut short when a drop of rain lands on my cheek. Instinctively, I look up to find myself wondering how I didn't notice those dark clouds in the sky sooner. All of a sudden, more droplets fall down until it's all but pouring rain, forcing everyone in the area to find cover. Over here! Ren doesn't seem to pay much attention when he grabs me by the hand and pulls me underneath one of the awnings of a nearby building. He shields me from the rain with his body. Couldn't help but feel tiny with the way his arms cage me in as he rests them against the wall. We look at each other in silence for a brief moment before erupting in laughter. Perhaps it's because of the adrenaline from all the panic running or the fact that Ren's hair was starting to lose its fluffiness, but I couldn't hold back from letting out a fit of giggles. This only seems to spur Ren on as well, until we're both wheezing out our lungs and gulping down air. I can't remember the last time I ran that fast. Me too. The looming sound of thunder echoes from afar and drowns out our laughter until we're both silent once more. Once we both calm down, Ren moves me further away from the rain before casting a glance behind him. Wait here. I'll buy us an umbrella so we can get out of the rain. But you'll get soaked. Ha! It's a sacrifice I'm willing to make. I roll my eyes at his corny joke and set him off with an amused smile. He doesn't look back before he makes a mad dash out of the rain and down the street towards the closest convenience store. So the rain only seems to get heavier the moment he leaves. I find myself pressing even further against the wall behind me to avoid the recoil of the rain bouncing off the pavement. There wasn't much for me to do while I waited for Ren to return, aside from watching people scramble around for shelter. And just like that, the carefree sounds of laughter echoing from down the street captured my attention as I watched Leon, Tio, and Jay all run to cover like their life depended on it. Well, it seemed as though their beach outing got cut short as well. Glancing back once more, I barely make out the figure of Leon using his bag as a makeshift umbrella as he ducks under one of the awnings of an ice cream stand. All while Tio and Jay trail behind at a leisurely pace, kicking up splashing water at each other in the rain. I had to look away the moment Tio started to remove his shirt, and I had an inkling that it was so that he could show off. And knowing Jay Hyun, he followed along like a mindless grunt because that's what he always does when it comes to his friends. Part of me felt like calling out to the group to see if I could wait out the storm alongside them, but they all seemed to be enjoying themselves and I didn't want to get in between that. Plus I did promise Red that I'd wait for him here. Even if he was taking his sweet time, was he ever going to return? There's still no sign of him or his comfy looking cardigan, and I was beginning to wonder if he really did ditch me. After all, it must have been more than 15 minutes by now. What if he got caught up with something? Or what if he went back to see that cashier lady again? Her store did happen to be on the same street, but after spending the afternoon with Red and getting to know him, I concluded that he wasn't the type of person to do such a thing. Plus, that'd be a really low blow considering that he was the one to offer to take me out on a date today. Although if I was being honest with myself, it did seem as though he had chemistry. Well, they had chemistry. Especially with how she looked at him and touched his arm as though it was the most natural thing in the world. She apparently knew him as well, or at least, he looked recognizable enough. Why did that thought make my blood boil? Thankfully, the rain was there to cool me off, as well as soak the ends of my outfit and make everything feel damp and uncomfortable. Was Red really coming back? It shouldn't take this long to buy an umbrella. How will he respond? I'll wait for Red. I want to wait for Red. Maybe something did come up. I'm sure he'll be back. As if on cue, I spot a familiar patch of pink hair from within the misty rain, frantically sprinting with an umbrella in one hand and a bag under the other. Angel! Lion! Ah! He almost seems to slam into me before stopping just in time, and I could tell by the way he was wheezing that he ran all the way back here without stopping. Sorry, I thought I almost lost you there for a second. It's so hard to see in this weather. Jeez, Red, what took you so long? I almost wanted to cuss him out for taking well over 20 minutes to just to buy a single umbrella, but the genuinely apologetic look on his features made me hold my tongue. Sorry, ran into your friends from earlier, which took forever for me to shake them off. And then the convenience store ended up closing early due to the sudden weather change. So I had to go to that awful souvenir shop with that obnoxious and clingy cashier again, and he was talking a mile a minute. I was worried he'd end up biting his tongue. Gently, I raise a hand to signal him to calm down, and his intense monologue soon comes to a halt. I'm really sorry for making you wait, but... Ta-da! I didn't manage to get an umbrella, among other things as well. He gives it a small twirl in his hands, sending droplets of water all over the place. We can start hitting back now if you want, unless you want to go somewhere specific. How will I respond? We can go to my apartment, we can go to your apartment. Where do you want to go? Forget it. I'm going home alone. Let's go to his apartment. I'm a bit curious about that. My apartment? Sure. It's not that far away anyway. We can wait out a storm here if you'd like. I would have a heater and dryer we could use. The image of me sitting in front of a warm, cozy heater was too hard to resist, so I end up eagerly stepping under Ren's umbrella while he leads the way. Oh my god, we're going to Ren's apartment. Holy heck. Despite the heavy downpour of rain, we managed to make it to Ren's apartment complex in one piece. I guess he really wasn't lying when he said his apartment wasn't far from mine. But judging from the pristine interior and fully functioning elevator, his building seemed to be in far better shape compared to my apartment. The elevator ride could have been a little less awkward though, if it weren't for the slow ascent and tacky music. Or for the fact that Ren deemed it appropriate to shake his head like a wet dog and get water droplets everywhere. Once the elevator door slid open, I was immediately met with a grandiose corridor and a large spacious doors. I found myself wondering how much it would cost to live in a place like this. Don't look hard at how messy my place is, okay? I wasn't expecting to have someone over today, so I didn't bother cleaning up. I'm getting a weird sense of deja vu. Ha! Thankfully, I don't have any white-haired neighbors who like to take their plants on walks. Actually, now that I think about it, it's a bit strange, but no one lives on this floor aside from me. Not really sure why, but not gonna complain. I can make as much noise as I want, and no one would notice. Ren shoots me a mischievous grin, and I find myself wondering what he meant by that. You know what he means by that. You know what he means by that. Like, loud music and stuff? Movies? Oh, you sweet summer child, me. Yeah, something like that. He unlocks the door with some electronic card attached to his keychain. At the moment the door swings open, I let out an audible gasp. Ren doesn't seem fazed in the slightest as he flicks on the lights and walks into his own home. I could only stand at the entrance to his foyer in shock. Yes, foyer. He had a whole darn foyer in his apartment. Was this even an apartment? Surely a penthouse could have made more sense. Holy. Ren! Is there something wrong? What is it? I know the decor is kind of tacky, but it came with the apartment and I haven't found time to do anything about it yet. I'm sorry, but are you the lost heir of a billionaire or something? This place is huge. Oh my god, is that marble? No, I get paid a lot for my job. Enough to afford rent at least. You know, I don't think I've asked you this yet, but what exactly is your job? My job is, I guess you could say I'm a programmer? I don't know. I just take on a few jobs every often. Nothing super fancy or anything. Nothing super fancy. Ren, you have marble flooring. Leaving the newly discovered programmer at the entrance, I curiously venture further into his apartment. Marble's a pain in the butt to clean too. Oh, Angel, do you want some slippers? The floor can get cold and your shoes are probably soaked, right? Turning around, I notice Ren's opening a small closet and pulling out a pair of dark house slippers. He turns to me with a curious expression, but makes no effort to hand them over. Only if you want them. I'll take them. Only because they might be douchey. Ren lets out a puff of laughter through his nose at my joke, but doesn't seem to deny it. As I put them on, I noticed just how they were exactly my size, and it made me wonder if he had bought a bunch of expensive house slippers in varying sizes. But as funny as that imagery was, how did Ren accurately guess my shoe size without seeing my feet? How are you so sure about that? I mean, heck, he's been to your apartment. He knows what size shoes you probably wear. Here, why don't I show you the bathroom? I'll find you something to wear in the meantime while your clothes are in the dryer. Or would you prefer a towel? Sorry, I don't usually invite people over. Seeing his timid side resurface once more gave me the sudden urge to tease him. How will you respond? Is it Egyptian cotton? Don't you have any friends? Am I your first house guest? Oh wait, just a towel? Just a towel? Nothing else? Yeah, to keep you warm instead of taking a shower, unless you prefer a blanket, because I'm pretty sure I have an electric... Oh, It was as if all the gears inside his head were finally clicking together. No, I meant a towel that you could wear over your clothes, not just you in your towel, unless you wanted to. But that's what. Why would you? I'm just gonna shut up now. That wasn't what I meant at all, but his reaction was priceless nonetheless. Anyway, I'll show you to the bathroom. You can use whatever you want in there. Nothing is off limits. First, it was offering to spend the night at my place. Then it was asserting himself as my boyfriend in front of my friends. He really doesn't care about personal boundaries, huh? I was beginning to think that Ren didn't seem to mind when it came to me invading his personal bubble as well. Though, he still seemed pretty standoffish about Tio, Jay, and Leon, and it took him a while to warm up to Eleanor back at the library. He seemed indifferent when he first met Violet, but I figured it was only because he was shy. Speaking of being shy, I still noticed how Ren didn't seem to be switching up his personality as much anymore, and I was beginning to think that he was showing me his real side. Up until now, everything felt real and genuine, and I found we could bounce back witty retorts between each other more easily. Though every now and then, he might slip up and stutter, but I just assumed it was because my teasing made him flustered. So maybe the timid side of him was genuine after all. But I'll leave some clothes for you aside. Put the plushie I bought for you in your room. Yeah, thanks. Plushie? Jeez, I was so young and completely missed half of what he was saying. Something about clothes and a plushie he bought? Wait, was he talking about the Haruko plushie I was eyeing earlier? I mean, he was carrying a gift bag from the souvenir shop earlier. He really buy me that toy? Ren, however, doesn't seem to pick up on my confusion, though. Invitingly, he opens the bathroom door for me with a soft smile. And so, without trying to make things awkward, I quickly slip inside and lean against the door for support. Which was fortunate for me because one sweep of the bathroom had me stumbling back in surprise. Whoa. Even his restroom looked expensive. I was afraid of touching anything, fearing I'd accidentally break it and end up paying for it. Glancing around again, I noticed how his countertop seemed to be void of any dental care, hairbrushes, skincare products, though a few bottles of concealer and an open box of hair dye sat in the corner near the sink. Well, I guess that answers my burning question on whether or not he had naturally pink hair. And now it made me wonder, if Ren does dye his hair, then what was his natural color? There were still so many things I didn't know about this soft-looking guy, and I was beginning to question whether coming here was a good idea or not. With a sigh, I decided to not waste any more time thinking about irrelevant things and instead turn my attention back to the shower. Quickly stripping out my clothes, I jump into an unnecessarily large glass booth and turn the water on. Glancing at Ren's shelf, and albeit limited hair products, I couldn't help but notice that one brand in particular just so happened to be the exact same as mine. If we used the same shampoo, he didn't really smell like me, but maybe that was because I wasn't paying too much attention. I mean, who randomly smells people out of the blue anyway? Shaking my head at such a silly notion, I begin to scrub away the lingering smell of rain from my body and quickly finish washing up. Bundled up in a warm towel, I crack open the large door and poke my head out into the hallway. True to his words, Ren left a small pile of clothing outside the bathroom, neatly stacked and propped against the side of the wall. Bringing the contents back inside, I noticed that one piece of clothing in particular was a rather comfy-looking hoodie. But the design on the front, however, was rather morbid-looking and didn't really suit Ren's vibes. Maybe from a horror film or something? Shrugging my shoulders, I put the hoodie on and instantly get enveloped by the sheer amount of fabric. I mean, it made sense considering Ren's large and lanky frame, but this was just absurd. I had to stifle a laugh from the amusing sight in the fogged-up mirror, but I had to admit that the soft fabric felt nice and warm against my skin. Even the scent that came from it felt oddly comforting somehow. Turning back to the remaining clothes in the pile, I gently pick up the next item and try to put it on. The gray sweatpants didn't seem to fit the length of my legs despite the number of times I tried to roll up the elastic, but luckily Ren was thoughtful enough to give me other alternatives. The dark pair of shorts seems like a better option, especially since it came with a drawstring and deep pockets. Once I was fully dressed, I step out of the bathroom and aimlessly walk around until I hear a faint sound of a TV playing. Feeling curious, I follow the source of the sound down the hallway. Breaking news! A sudden storm hits the bay as gale force winds and knock over street signs and even awning. Guess believes that the sudden change of weather will die down soon and to stay safe in the... I continue to follow the noise until it suddenly cuts out and changes into a glaring monotonous sound, indicating that the television must have lost all signal. And soon enough, I found myself in Red's spacious lounge room. Aside from the TV, the rest of the lights were off, but I could still make out the most of the dark shapes within the room with ease. It was just as ostentatious as the rest of his house, so I couldn't help but feel like it lacked any form of life. It just didn't seem like someone actually lived here. The furniture was gaudy, yet tasteless. There was hardly any personal decoration or colors. There was nothing that really screamed Ren to me. There was no personal touches, photos, items, hobbies. Nothing, just tacky furniture and the bland smell of something sterile. If I was being honest, it gave off the same vibes as a dentist clinic or a hospital. I mean, he didn't mention recently moving in, right? Maybe that's why. Who moved in? Surprised by the sudden voice, I spin on my heels only to find Ren coming out from one of the hallways with a new set of comfy clothing. And he looks so good in black. He's wearing nothing under that shirt, is he? He seemed much more at ease with this, especially with the gentle expression on his face. I watch as he takes a respectful glance at my attire before sheepishly averting his attention to the end of his sleeves. Sorry, that's the smallest pair of clothing I own. It looks really good on you, though. Oh, thanks. You can keep him if you want. The sound of thunder rumbling in the distance cuts off Ren's mumbling. I involuntarily step closer to him. Without missing a beat, he reaches out and rests a protective hand on my shoulder to steady me. Ren idly glances out the window before turning his undivided attention back to me once more, only this time with a determined look. It's really pouring, huh? I could only nod my head at his words, suddenly feeling sheepish all of a sudden. I really should have checked the weather forecast before I went out today. But to be fair, it didn't look as though it'd start spontaneously raining when I left my apartment this morning. And I guess I was enjoying my time with Ren to the point I didn't even realize the weather was turning sour. Angel? Sorry, what did you say? I just asked if you want to stay the night here, you know? Seeing how hard it was raining out there, and the clothes haven't finished drying yet. It'd be no trouble, and I could return the favor, considering how you let me stay at your apartment yesterday. Staying at his place for the night? Well, this certainly isn't how I expected to end my day. But would it really be that bad? Definitely beats waiting out the storm and walking home with a bunch of puddles everywhere. How would you respond? Oh my god, wait. Whoa. I'm gonna go for the glitched option, because heck yeah. What's that? Did I really want to stay at the night at Ren's place? I guess I did. Couldn't really remember otherwise. I guess I could stay the night, if that's really okay with you. Yeah, of course. It's totally fine. Wow. He really was an energetic, eccentric man, wasn't he? Let me know if you need any more pillows or blankets, or if the room gets too cold. Haven't worked out how to use the fancy heater system yet, but yeah, I can definitely try. Also, I can kind of see like what's going on above his shorts. I am so happy about that. Also, you already know where the bathroom is, but if you... Okay, I think I got it, Ren. I shoot him a reassuring smile as I turn to face him at the door. I should have gotten used to his attentive and observant behavior by now, but it still felt like a foreign side of him that I haven't fully uncovered. Still, at least he wasn't stuttering as much anymore. I know. Sorry. I just want you to be as comfortable as possible, so just treat this house like it's your own. Alright, I got you. It looks like he doesn't want to leave and instead lingers in front of the door a little while longer. Are you sure there isn't anything else you need? Anything at all? How will you respond? Can I get a good night kiss? Can you sleep in my bed tonight? What's behind that locked door? What's behind that locked door? The locked door? What door? Oh, you mean the one at the end of the hallway? All of a sudden, his timid persona is back again. Was he just nervous? What could he possibly be hiding in that room that makes him act like this? There's nothing in particular. Just, currently using it as a storage room for all the furniture from my old place. It's really messy in there. It'd be embarrassing if you saw what's behind that door. Oh. Yeah. Okay. That actually makes a lot of sense. Great. Now I'm the person who threw accusations at someone kind enough to offer me a place to stay for the night. Still, it was nice to know that he did own some kind of furniture. Sorry. Guess I was just curious. Usually people don't leave the lights on behind locked doors. Oh, yeah. I'd be happy to show you what's behind that door when it's not so cluttered. But if that's all, then I guess I'll let you get some sleep. If you need anything, My room's just 3 doors down. Gotcha. Good night, Ren. Good night, Lion. Sweet dreams. I watch in silence as Ren turns on his heels and makes his way towards his own room down the hall. Shaking my head at his odd behavior, I close the door behind me and slowly make my way towards the bed. I notice that the Haruko plushie Ren had bought earlier was sitting atop the sheets, and I gently bring it closer to my chest to give it a soft squeeze. So, he really did buy this for me after all. The faintest hint of cherry and mint emits from the toy and makes my mind drift to thoughts of that strange pink-haired man once more. It was still odd as usual, but some parts of him were starting to feel rather endearing. I noticed how he was no longer stuttering as much or acting as shy. It made me wonder if we were getting closer. Now that I really thought about it, how did I feel about Ren? How will he respond? I'm crushing on him. I like him. He's alright. He's creepy. I'm crushing on him. I'm crushing on him hard. Okay, so maybe I did find him rather endearing and attractive. Ren was very considerate and attentive towards me during our date, and I could see myself wanting to go on another date in the near future. He certainly had boyfriend potential, but I still needed to work up the nerve to make it lean towards that direction. He seemed far too hesitant to do it himself, but it would have been nice for him to put more effort into it as well. Ah well, just knowing Ren wanted to spend the entire day with me is enough. Rolling onto my side, I hugged the plushie close so I could be surrounded by his comforting scent and slowly drift off to sleep. Anyway, that was the end of day 2. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys want to play this game for yourself, link to the game will be in the description below. And yes, for those of you who are subscribed to my Patreon, I will be going over the little funky scene we have in the bedroom if you guys catch my drift. But anyway, I hope you guys have a lovely rest of the day. And as always, I will be seeing you in the next video. This is Lion, signing off. Ciao.